All right, here we go. Hey and ho, I'm James Victori. Welcome to The Right Questions, the podcast designed, get that, designed, created to help you get paid to do what you love and stay sane in the process. Welcome to it. Let's get to it. The other day, I had the pleasure of a generous compliment. And I get this kind of compliment, dare I say, often, sometimes, occasionally. A kind soul, whom I do not know, I have not paid off, I assure you, contacted me via social media and referred to me as let me see if I get this word right, a genius. Excuse my laughter. Like anyone, I like a nice compliment. I like a nice compliment with my tea. But I also know myself. And I know what goes into my work. And I assure you, there is no genius here. There is work. With a capital W-E-R-K, work. So this podcast being called The Right Questions, the right question here is, what is genius? And more importantly, why you, my dear lovely listener, don't think that you are. We're so free with that word, applying it to others. Why do we not apply it to ourselves? Let me explain this to you. There's one of my favorite poets is the Persian poet Rumi, right? A real genius. I've mentioned him before, and if you haven't read The Essential Rumi, take a look at it. It's a beautiful book. But Rumi has a poem that basically says, there is a basket of fresh bread on your head, yet you go from door to door asking for crusts. Let me repeat that. Rumi was a funny fucking guy. He says, there's a basket of fresh bread on your head, yet you go door to door asking for crusts. Right? And for us, the lesson is, if we could just realize the wealth that we carry around daily, if we could see the possibility of your highest goals, right? If we could see what we're really capable of. And what I always remind you, if you could just allow your voice out into the world, allow your truth out into the world, you would stop acting like a beggar. This idea of an appointed genius. Let's chat about that word for a second, shall we? To me, I think genius is a myth. I get that there's science behind it. Maybe, right? Maybe science. But, the truth is, for me, I'm just not that much into the adulation club. The word is applied mostly, check this out, right? The word is applied mostly to old, dead, white guys. Gee, how did that come about? How did that happen? High fives and a round of drinks for the boys club, fellas. Ho! Yeah. I think it's a divisive classification, a separatist thing. And it's the kind of thing we need to call bullshit on. Or take a page from James Victori's book and just include yourself. Right? Just include yourself. Don't wait. Of course, I have heroes. There are people who I believe are okay. I believe they might be geniuses, and I respect them for the work they do or did or done, but not some ability to take a test. And that's the thing we're kind of talking about here. That how do you qualify as a genius? Because I think, I'm an action guy. I'm an action figure, right? I want to see what you done, not how good you are at taking a test. And the almost single factor is for genius is your IQ score. So let me unload on you for a second about IQ scores, right? So 140 is a genius level, and I think like 100 or 98 is considered average. And just as an FYI, girls are smarter than boys 100% of the time, right? So just remember that. And if you do have a high IQ, then which test did you take? Because there's a ton of them, right? That's weird. There's the Stanford Binet, or the Universal Nonverbal, or the Differential Ability, or the Peabody, or the Wechsler, or the Woodcock, or the Raven, right? Or the Epstein-Barr. I just threw that last one in, as a test there. That was a test. That was my IQ test. The funniest thing and the truest thing, possibly, that I've ever heard about these tests was when I was a kid in grade school. And I had a teacher who shared with us. He was in art school. He was an art teacher, and he shared with us this thing about. He was talking about IQs, and I think that maybe this is where I got my disbelief. But he said, if it's ever offered to you to take an IQ test, he said, don't take it. He said, because if your score comes back high, you won't try, and if your score comes back low, you won't try. So maybe he, Mr. McFadden was his name. Maybe he is where I got my distrust of IQ test, or maybe he is where I got my complete trust in being an action figure, right? So there are recorded levels of high IQ from people who do and contribute absolutely nothing to the world. This is true. And there are low IQ results that have produced beautiful scientific and cultural and artistic advances to our lives. This you can research and find these people. So there's this nature-nurture thing going on as well, right? And we've not even touched on what effect motivation or street smarts, right? You are now about to witness the power of or what emotional intelligence has to do with it. And can a high IQ even carry the load of emotional intelligence? I am sure there's some genetic line of gifted, smart people who give birth to a very smart kid, whose path is paved with pampering and love and a couple of dollars, but they never walk that path because there's no urgency. There's no motivation or pull or reason. So the genius is squandered. And I am doubly sure that the opposite exists. I'm triply, I'm quadruply, hextuply assured that the opposite exists. Some poor bastard, because of or in spite of his upbringing, does the best he or she or they can and digs himself or herself or theirself, you got to do that now, out of the nurture hole they were born in and transplants or creates their own nature and then are eventually referred to as a genius. But, and this is important, I love this, but as the man whose friggin' photo literally shows up in the dictionary under the word genius, Albert Einstein, as Albert Einstein wrote, imagination is more important than knowledge. Check that shit out. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Hey, here's a little funny side note. Did you know that Einstein's real name, his birth name, was Rod Houston? Seriously, he changed it because he didn't feel it was physicist-y enough. It's a true story. Don't look it up. But be it a high IQ or curiosity or creativity, oh boy, we love that word. The factor that makes someone a genius is a mystery. And it will continue to be. And I'm happy about that. I like, just as I'm lobbying to the OED, the Oxford English Dictionary, for a better word for failure, because I think that word sucks, right? I think we need another word for genius. Like fail. Fail should basically be, we shouldn't use fail, we should just use death, right? Because that's the only time you really fail is when you're done, you're dead, right? Or you stopped working. So instead of fail, we should just use death or I stopped working, right? Because when you quit or stop, that's the only time you fail. Because, consistency, baby, So we can say, I couldn't have failed. I'm not dead yet. And genius should be something that goes along with, one who keeps going, right? Maybe instead of genius, we use the word consistency. So, I know. Say it ain't so, James. Sorry to crush your spirits while enlightening you at the same time, but I am not only a genius, and certainly not by testing standards, I think. And you ask, why do I say this? Why do I plead not guilty as a genius? And partially it's because I know myself, and partially because I'm kind of afraid of everything. I am like you. If you prick us, do we not bleed? Right? I'm like you. I'm afraid of travel. I don't really want to travel. I'm afraid of meeting new people. Hi, what do? I don't know, right? I'm afraid of new jobs. I'm afraid of new anything. I'm afraid of dogs. Got 2 of them. Still afraid of them. Right? And I don't really know how to do anything. It's like I wish I was in the Matrix and I could say, hey, could I get the upload for Jute Keen Do? I'd like to kick someone's ass right now, right? Can I get the Webster's Dictionary upload right now? Because I'm looking for a word, right? So I don't know really how to do anything except research. So I know how to do research. I know how to look things up. I know how to find things. So, dear listener, dear reader, I'm not dead yet. I haven't failed. I do contain seeds of genius, as you do. And my genius is that I am curious. My genius is that I move forward, anyway, anyhow. My genius is I can figure anything out. I got that from my dad. If you ask my dad if he was creative, he would say, nah. But he built the house we lived in. He built that. He was an amateur chef, an amateur photographer, right? He did all this kind of crazy stuff. And if you asked him if he was creative or an artist, he'd say, nah, it's just something I do. I got these 2 hands. But if you asked him, hey, Dad, can you figure anything out? He'd say, yeah, I could figure anything out. Actually, if you asked my father if he was a genius, he would just say yes. Because he had that kind of bullshit bravado, which was kind of impressive, So I got that from my dad. Thank you, Dad. And I also got the figure it out. To me, figure it out means to be creative. And my other genius is that I ask for help. I can do research. I can find things out. I got that from my mom. Thanks, Mom. And she worked in the research department of the local university library, right? So it was just, I lived, in a tower of books. So I can research, I can study, I can see it in my head, and I can move forward. And also my genius is that I fuck up. I mean, you can't make serious moves in your life unless you're willing to fuck up seriously. Once, or twice, or thrice, right? So the right question is why you don't think you are, why you don't believe you are, or why don't you just act that? Action, baby. Let's just act. as geniuses. My point here is for you to go. Just fucking go. Go, go, go. Do what you want. Ask for more than you feel comfortable with. Because you deserve that. You are worthy. Stop waiting for permission or someone else like me to tell you. Get on it. You don't need anyone's approval or permission or anointment. And you certainly don't have to be a genius to start. You have to start. And then you become a genius. That's how it works. Right now, you're thinking, oh man, I wish James Victori could be my mentor, my guru. Hell, I wish he was my coach. Well, you can make that happen. Go to yourworkisagift.com. There's a questionnaire that will probably help you out, but it'll also give you access to a free call. So let's talk. Let's free you from overwhelm and creative frustration. Let's build your business and help you get paid to do what you love. Again, go to yourworkisagift.com. Let's talk. I'm so glad I'm not a genius. I'm so glad I didn't have a 165 IQ when I was 7, because I'd be holed up with a bunch of other dry motherfuckers doing math all day. Or I'd be the smartest guy in the trailer park. Don't know which way I would fall, right? So you have to start, and then you become a genius. But we don't start, right? Because we got perfection. Because we wanted to be perfect. Because we got fear of rejection. Or fear of looking bad. Or fear of screwing up. So you screw up once or twice. So what? That's the process. So I urge you, nay, I beg you. I double dog dare you to make crap. Make a mess. That's what you're here for. That's the process. That's how we get somewhere. Do you know, the problem is we as the average human being, we're not witness to all the failures of real genius. You know that Dyson vacuum, the dude that invented that thing? Rod Houston Dyson is his name. You know how many prototypes he made before hitting on the final? The one that worked? Not 26. Not 126. It was 5,126 prototypes. I shit you not. So just start. Start and keep going. Do not die in the process, because that's fail or quit. Then become an expert, a genius even, and then teach others. Because that is the complete fulfillment of your gift. That is when you have finished the Joseph Campbell circle, the journey of the hero, the Star Wars story. When you complete the fulfillment of your gift is when you share it with others, to bring your gift and the reward home to your tribe and to your family, to share, to teach. You just have to be bullheaded and want it enough. You have to be curious enough. You have to be hungry and horny enough. And stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting to be called that word. I really wish you had no choice. I really do. But you do have a choice. So sometimes we choose the easy way. Like a job, that job that you show up at. You're like, hey, how's work? It's work. Bah, you fail. Sorry. Right? As soon as we say, it's work, there should be some big fucking giant chute in the universe that opens up and we just go, whoosh, and we're gone. Try again. Right? So we take the easy way because we're lazy or fearful. Hey, I know this. I know this because in the particular lies the universal. My lazy and fearful tendencies mirror yours. I get it. I would make a perfectly good couch potato. I would. But desperation, lack of options, and a fire under your ass are good motivators. Or just wanting it so much, or just being able to see the gold. I can see the gold. That's what keeps me from the ass divot on the couch. But we sometimes don't have these in our lives, so we sit and watch others take the stage. So you got to ask yourself, why can't I have what I want? What's the reason? Because when I ask, the answer always comes back the same. Well, James, there is no reason. There's no reason except all of your stinky excuses. I'm afraid, I'm not worthy, who would be interested? That's for other people, that's for smart people, that's for talented people. Or just because I'm afraid to do the work. Then, when we have those excuses, when we follow those excuses, we become Rumi's beggar. We let our poverty thinking make choices for us. You know, poverty thinking. It's a fearful thinking. It's a fear of never having enough. Right? And one of the big excuses that we have, and I've seen this in students since day one for the last 20 years teaching. I've seen this is because we want it now. We want it now, especially now because we have the internet and we have like social media and we see what other people are doing. Look at this fucking 20-year-old. Look what he's doing, right? We want it now and we don't have the patience and we get frustrated with ourselves too easily. But here's a reminder. Creativity takes a lot of things. It takes grace, right? It takes time. It takes practice. And it takes love and consistency. So your excellence or your beauty or your art, that which you seek, comes with time. And sometimes just letting it come. It's on a schedule. It will come, but we have to let it, and we have to not fail/die in the process. Right? Your genius is not something you can force. Because if you try, it will actually elude your grip, like holding a frog in your wet hands, right? Trying to hold him too tightly, and it just goes whoop, whoop, nope, they're back in the pond, waiting for somebody else. So I wish you time and practice. And ignoring everything but that small voice in you that says, press on regardless. If you think you are making bad work, excellent. I applaud you. Bravo. Keep making bad work until it becomes good. It will become good. Trust me. I've seen it myself. I am in a period where I am so sick and tired of looking at the shit that comes out of the pen that I'm holding in my hand, right? You guys have been there. I'm like holding the pen. I keep making marks on the page. I'm like, what? Well, that ain't it. Who made that poop, right? It will come. Trust me. And maintaining that genius of yours means letting it flow into the other aspects of your life and interests. It is a current that runs in you, trust me, and it will feed all the parts of your life. Let it grow. Be cool. Because real genius comes through time and patience. And it's important for you to believe in the power of your own innate creativity, right? We're all born wildly creative. And we need to work doggedly, consistently toward a goal and not be put off by our fears or by failure. For all of you, I wish that you can realize the wealth you carry around in you. All the possibilities of the universe are within your talents. And your reach, dear friend, is longer than your arms. I assure you. And not in some of us, but all of us. So become a genius. Set a high bar for yourself. Think big. Dream big. Plan big. Fantasize big. Every damn day. Make it a habit. Some people call it manifesting. Call it what you want. I don't care. But the world, the universe, your audience will make it happen for you. I've seen it. I've seen it many times, and it can happen quicker than you think. So move freely. Go after what you want and what you need. You were all geniuses. And quite frankly, you were all born geniuses. You were all born geniuses, really. Wildly creative. That's what that means. So, apropos of this and nothing, I leave you with one of my favorite old movie lines. It's an old black and white movie I saw with my parents when they dragged me to the movies. It's from Auntie Mame, a Rosalind Russell movie from frickin' 1958. And in that movie, she quotes this beautiful line, and she says, "Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death." I love you all of you geniuses. Go and get what you want. Go and get what you want. I'm James Victori. That's the right question. Who am I talking to? A genius. And I will talk to you again. Thank you for your time. Adios.